get to the new guys, we'll start with Ethan. Just how much growth has he made since last year, and how's he kind of embracing maybe a bullpen role?
He's embraced it really well, and just being the kid he is, the teammate he is, the competitor he is, he would do whatever. Truly, he would start if we needed him to. He'd close if we needed him to. He would do whatever it takes. But really, he looks like a different pitcher this time of the spring than he did at this time last year. And we've made some adjustments with his pitch mix and what he's doing. But physically, he's in an awesome spot. Ball's really exploding out of his hand. The secondary pitches are better. We kind of shifted him on the rubber a little bit, so there's an added deception piece to it. But his early spring has been great, and so excited about where he's at. Excited for him to continue to grow and keep rolling.
Any idea if Jake will be back this year, and if so, when can we expect to see him?
Yeah, well, Jake is actually going into his third week of facing live hitters, and so he threw live this past week. He'll have 2 more outings in this week, in the middle of the week, and then also in the weekend, and he'll kind of stay on that plan until we get to open and weekend. And so as long as everything goes well and he keeps checking the boxes in his protocols with his rehab, he will be available the first weekend. And so it all comes down to, of course, him feeling good, us being comfortable with where he's at and what we're seeing. But right now, he looks great. He looks great. His pitch mix looks great. Physically, he's done a really, really awesome job of getting his body into the best shape that it's been since he's been here. And so just really excited and thankful for him in general, because that guy's been through it, man. He's going into his 4th year, and he's worked his tail off, and he's had a good career. And so, at this point, not this point, but when the injury happened last year, it's like, a little bit of doom and gloom. It's like you're really upset for that kid. But really, it's been best case scenario in the rehab so far. And we still got a ways to go, to make sure that he's feeling the way that he needs to, but just super excited for him.
Coach, on Friday, Ethan was throwing, and I noticed the umpire called a ball. He had declared the windup, some kind of new rule. What's the big changes going on for the pitcher front?
The changes aren't really changes. I think they're just kind of mandating it at a little bit higher level by the umpires. And so, yeah, I almost got thrown out of an inter squad this past weekend. But that'd have been something, huh? But basically what was happening there is, in the past, with the pitch clock, the pitchers have just been working extremely fast. Now the hitter's eyes have to be up within the 10 seconds. The pitcher can't start their delivery until the eyes are on them. Now, in those circumstances, right or wrong, I think some of the umpires are still figuring out exactly what that looks like, because they have a lot on their plate. They're trying to call balls and strikes. They're trying to manage the game. And so that was kind of what we were talking about and going through, because Ethan was in the windup, and there was just some confusion of what was happening and where he was at in his delivery and all those different things. And so I think that all that stuff will get cleared up really early in the spring. You may see some guys get called on some things, but I think, as with any of these rules, as the spring goes, we got to get in a flow with everything. So
I guess Cliff alluded to, will pitchers be checked now for substances by going to the dugout, I guess?
Yes, and so with the starting pitchers, they have to be checked basically at the beginning of their outing. And so the umpires are also figuring out when they're going to do that. Is that after the first inning? Is that before the second inning? What does that look like? All the relievers get checked on their way in from the bullpen. And so there's obviously some viral videos of guys kind of lathering their hands up with stuff in the spring last year. And so, they're trying to obviously do exactly like they do in the major leagues and make sure that people are not cheating on the mound. And so it's not something that our guys are going to have to worry about, because, our guys aren't doing that anyway.
Overall, what do you like most about this bullpen this year?
I like the variety of the arms. I like the ability to have some depth when it comes to the talent of the arms, right? Now, with that being said, there's a lot of inexperience to go with it, but I think as the spring goes along and these guys get comfortable, you're going to see some guys with some pretty dynamic mixes and some pretty dynamic stuff on the mound. And so I like the fact that we have a lot of talent, and it for me, this year the staff is more of a total effort than it is where you're like, hey, we're going to rely on 3, 4, 5 guys. For us to be really, really good, I think that we have to utilize the pieces that we have and put them in the best spots for them to be successful and give them an opportunity to go out there and succeed. And obviously there will be some failure that comes with that as well, and that's okay. But that's part of having, 31 new players and a bunch of new freshman arms and some transfer arms who haven't pitched in front of the jungle before. And so they got to go out there and they got to learn. But I think the upside for the staff is very high.
Who's going to be your Danny Bill this year? I guess your workhorse coming out of the pen. I don't rely on him a lot this year.
I think that could be a number of a couple of guys. We already talked about Norby a little bit. I'm not saying that Norby's going to have 40 appearances like Danny had. That's ideally we don't have that scenario. But I think you have a good mix of 4, 5, 6 different guys that will be running out of that bullpen that will have an opportunity to go and log a bunch of important innings, But who's going to be Danny Bill? The answer is no one's going to be Danny Bill, because, for one, he had to do that for us last year, right? That was the way we were going to win, the way we were going to be successful. But hopefully through recruiting and through development, these guys have grown and we will have more options to roll out there and to take the place of Danny, to be able to fill those innings and those innings be quality over time.
Just taking a step back at all of the newcomers that you have on the staff, Anatolic and Pruitt and guys I'm forgetting. What has it been like just coaching this group? So the opposite of the veteran you had last year, and just having the patience to bring them in.
It's been fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge of it, but it makes it easy whenever you've got really good personalities on the staff, guys who want to get better, who are hungry to win, who are here for the right reasons, right? And so it's a lot. Obviously, our guys who returned were all already awesome kids, and we all built the rapport. The freshmen, we've had a lot of time of recruiting them and talking with them and communicating with them, and then when they get here they understand what our place looks like, and so they just kind of get into the mix and go. And then with the portal guys, like really just awesome personalities, like really fun to be around, want to get better, whether that was because, hey, maybe they were at a program where they want to win more, right? Or maybe they want more opportunities. I think whenever, in the game of baseball, but in life as well, like whenever you get humbled a little bit, you're going to be hungry for that success, right? And so you don't ever have to worry about these kids showing up to the field in the right mindset and going about practice the right way. And so for me, it's been very, very enjoyable. As Coach Palumbo and Coach Godwin have said, there's been a lot of teaching, which is like I really enjoy that piece of it. And so the day-to-day has been a lot of fun. And like I said, a great group of kids.
One of those new guys is Sean Jenkins. Just how good is he, especially for a 17-year-old, and what kind of role do you see for him year one?
I think the role will take care of itself. I think if we started today, he would obviously be in our rotation in some capacity. But Sean he's an awesome kid. He wants to be great. And so he eats, sleeps, and breathes baseball. And so he's always very self-aware, very self-reflective, understands what makes him good, but also understands the bigger picture of how he can get better. And really the best quality about Sean is the ability to apply coaching really quick. It's like when we work together in the bullpen, if we're seeing something and we're collaborating on something, he's able to make adjustments fast and then apply them in a game very quickly. And so just an advanced mentality, obviously very talented, but there's a lot of guys who are very talented around the country. And so you don't want to put expectations on a kid like that. I think he's going to be a big part of what we do, but he's still young and he's got to go and do it, right? But everything's been really positive with Sean to this point.
Go ahead.
Obviously, you want to establish as much of a rotation. You hope it looks a lot like last year. But with some of these young guys, if you have less guys that maybe you feel comfortable in them throwing 80 to 100 pitches, do you take any of the things that happened back in the 2022 season and kind of apply both good and bad into this year with all the new faces? Absolutely.
I think the beginning half of that season in 22 really set up the end of it, as we figured out exactly the roles we wanted these guys to pitch in, how we wanted to go about the management of the game, and to everyone else out there it looked like chaos, but for us we knew what we were doing with the rotation at that point, right? And so does it need to look exactly like that? I don't know. The game will tell tell us, right? But the most important thing is that we are bringing these guys along and we're giving them opportunities to go out there and pitch, right? And to go out there and be in important situations for us. And so, yeah, you're always learning from every year that you have. And, you know, I've said this a couple of times. I'd love to have Trey Savage on Friday night for the rest of my life, right? But those things organically happen. And so the only way that these guys are going to become dudes is if they go out there and prove that they can do it. And so it's just all about putting them in the right situations that are advantageous for them and help them gain the confidence that they need and grow from there.
Going back to Jenkins for a sec, I mean, just getting a 17-year-old to, you know, leave high school early and, you know, come here and be a part of this program. What was that like for you? Just, you know, talking to his family and, like, having that process play out.
That was a Coach Palumbo thing right there. Coach Godwin and Coach Palumbo. I was just like, hey, Sean, you want to come or what? You know, like they handled all the details. I just kind of kept my hands out of it and tried not to screw it up. You know, hopefully he believes that I can help him get better. So that was pretty much it for me. But with Coach Palumbo and Coach Godwin, it was obviously talking to the family, making sure that they had the belief that this was the right decision for them. And then he had to graduate high school, you know, and so he had to take on more classes during the summer and kind of finish out his degree and get to be able to be accepted at East Carolina to start with. And so that was the biggest thing. But with Sean, once we presented it to him, I think he was pretty quickly all in on doing this.
Who are some of the other guys competing for rotation spots along with Sean right now?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Towers is a transfer from LMU out in California. He's a guy that's, you know, honestly, he's been tremendous since he's been here. We talk a lot about Sean, but statistically, Ryan has been as good as Sean every step of the way. A guy who's left-handed, can really, really pitch, has major league ties to his family. His dad pitched in the big leagues, so he understands the game, really good personality, but just handles himself well out there. You know, he's a guy that, you know, I think will definitely be in the mix. And then you've got, you know, a handful of a bunch of different guys that are in the mix right now, you know, with some young guys. And like I said, those things will kind of, they'll play themselves out, and we'll figure that out over time, you know. And then you also got the piece of like Brett Antolik, who had a procedure back in October, who I think, you know, if he was fully healthy, he would be in the rotation right now as well. And so, like I said, it could change. It's going to look different, you know, come the end of the year. But, you know, I don't really worry about those things because they play themselves out over time. It's like the guys who earn the job will get the opportunity to do it.
One of the returning guys this year, Jaden Winter, he's had some ups and downs throughout his career, but how is he looking going into this year, and how confident are you in him as a bullpen guy? Yeah,
we need Jaden to be a guy that we can depend on to go out there and give us quality innings. You know, I think we're on the right track with getting his usages and his pitch mixes in the right place, but we just need to see more consistency, and that's been the thing for Jaden's career up to this point is he'll show really good flashes, and then at times will not, right? And so as a fourth-year player, you expect that jump to happen moving forward. Is just, hey, we need to see you be more consistent in the zone, throwing more strikes, showing better off-speed pitches. And like I said, we're in a better place with him. It's just a matter of him going out and being consistent and us giving him the tools and the resources to do so.
With Pruitt and Antolik, is that any update on their health? Do y'all expect that earlier in the season?
Yeah, so Pruitt is going to face live hitters this weekend, and so he's on track to where as long as he continues to feel good, he'll be available opening weekend. Brett is about 3 months out from his hip procedure, and so he's throwing. He just is not like on his feet doing things consistently. It's a lot of rehab to make sure that he is able to rotate the way that he needs to down the mound. And so I don't know the exact timetable for him, but we expect sometime in March for him to be able to debut as long as things go the way that we want it to, right? And so, but with him, the rehab is going really well. He works really, really hard, so I would put no parameters around what he can or can't do as far as a timetable goes.